So as probably most of you know, a resonance is basically a very loud volume or just a loud volume at a certain frequency, which can be undesirable in mixing, for example. Let's say we have a drum loop like this, and then we have these little toms in there, somewhere here. This is the mixing side of things, but if we're doing sound design, we can use these resonances to very great effect. So let's say, for example, you have a drum loop like this, and you create a bunch of frequencies at the note G. So if we go to frequency here, and you can simply type G2, you can see that this is a frequency of 97.9 hertz. Now we can do that a couple more times. We can go G3, take another one, G4, bear with me for a second, G5, okay, one more for the road home, G6. So now we have a bunch of Gs here. If we start to set the Q of all of those fairly high, and then we set the gain also fairly high, let's start with 20, we can start to hear the note G in this otherwise percussive loop. And you could now, of course, switch this to new notes, such as the note A. So this is how you can create a sense of pitch in something that didn't have pitch before. I used to always save these here, but this was on a different computer. Right now I only have one in there, the Gs. But you can actually save these as certain tonal bank frequencies. Because what this is called in sound design is usually a resonator. Something resonates at a very high frequency. Now, I want to talk about Snap Heap today, where I've set up a bunch of slice EQs. As we know, phase blend, especially the premium effect, has some beautiful EQs, the carve EQ, the slice EQ, and we can use those to then create a sense of pitch on our sound. So let's listen to. Right, so you can do quite some fun stuff with that, and of course you could use this within FaceBlend itself as well. So let's go with a new instance of Snap Heap. That's not a new one, so let's click new here, and let's go with a let's use that slice EQ. It's pretty flexible. And then in here we can do the same thing. We create some bends. Let's, for the sake of simplicity, let's go with the note A. Now, if you right click on these knobs here, you can set something in hertz. We can actually also simply type a note A3, and it will then, in this case, jump to 220. I know A4 to be at 440, so that seems to be correct. What did I do? There, 440. And then this would be A5, I think. And let's add A6 to that as well. You know what? One more. A7. So now we have a bunch of A resonators here. We can set the Q of all of them. I didn't find a way yet to do this for all of them at the same time. So we have to just go in here, right click on these knobs, or I think control click will also do the trick. And then we set some narrow Qs. And then let's start with a gain of, what should we do, 20 maybe? Now this of course looks very scary. You can always, if it worries you, add a gain before this effect to scale everything down. You could also scale the whole EQ down, but really it doesn't matter that much. So now we have a bunch of A notes in there. And just to take one step back, so in Snap Heap, in case you've never looked at it before, the signal just comes in and then goes through all of these buses and then goes out. That's it. We can say that a bus goes straight to the, or this is the mix of the lane. But we can also make a bus go in, what, I forgot the word, parallel, thank you, when we click this button here. we get some parallel processing, and with the mix we basically switch the effects off for that lane, but that's about it. So generally, let's take a look at a couple of different versions. Let's first, we have this now on bus 2. It doesn't matter where we put it at this point because everything is set up kind of in a serial manner, because none of these buttons here are clicked. Serial meaning signal comes in at 1 and leaves eventually at bus 7 after going through all of them. It looks like I made, oh no, it's just weird. I thought I made a mistake. If you look here, that looks a bit odd, but we do have the note A there. I'm gonna get a bit more gain on my channel. Now, the nice thing about this slice EQ, especially this zoomed out version, is that it has this offset which goes in semitones. So what we could now do is we can hold Option to copy this reg, and we could set one of them to 3 semitones and the other one to 7. And that of course gives us a minor chord. So now the first one would be the note A, this one would be the note C, and this one would be. Now, this doesn't work so well yet because the note A goes into this resonator and this goes into that resonator. So if we want to hear all of these notes individually, we have to make sure we hear them like this. So now we have 3 parallel buses. Now, of course, we could also do this the other way around. So if we hear, there you get a nice bass sound. We could set this one, instead of up 7, we could go minus. And we could take this one again and set it to, let's say, minus. Then of course we have to make that band parallel as well. Now what you could do after this is, well, first of all, you could now apply different effects to different notes. So you can, I don't know, take a reverb here, for example, for one of the notes. Another one could have a stereo delay, perhaps. Where's the stereo delay? Let's go with the... At the beginning here, I could add, for example, a wave shaper to distort the sound a little bit more. We're working with a fairly clean drum loop here, so it would be maybe nice to make it a little bit dirtier so that we get a little bit more signal to work with. Of course, in general, it will be very interesting to, once you have we could then set up the macros. So we could set up some macros for the gain. Let's say we want to go up here 20. Is that too much? It will be 12 dB. I think that's reasonable. So we can assign this here. 20 here as well. And of course, even more interesting would be to start controlling the offset. Now, the offset can be a little bit tricky because this, let's see, it can go up 120 semitones and down. So it has kind of a huge range. Even, let's rename this gain. even if we wanted to control this with a mod map, remember with the remap, we can take a macro control, send it into the input here, and then we can send the output of that into the offset here, for example. And then if you wanted to move in exact semitones, you would have to create 120 different mod steps here, which is kind of extreme, I guess, and it would still, yeah, that's a very fine control. So what we could do is take at least this range on the right side here and divide that in octaves. So then we would only need 10 steps, because this would be a 12 range octave, 24 in total for the whole knob, but positive only 12. So I actually prepared a mod map for this. So I can go in here and go with my, oh no, I didn't. I only have 12 steps. Well, let's quickly make one then. So if we go in our remap here and we say new, I guess we can set this only to 12 here, but that's fine. So now you just create 10 different steps. Right, so that's 10 right there. And I will save this as well, 10 steps, because I don't like to make these. Unless you're super into clicking, it's good to save them. So now we have 10 steps here, and that means that so in case I explained that too quickly, if you have a macro and it goes into a remap, the remap will take the smooth output of this macro, which right now is like 100%, and it will map that to distinct values, in our case 10 distinct values. If we then set that up to control this offset here, we can say that we want that to have a range of 50, which would be half of the range of the knob, which would then be 12 octaves. Now that's just me random. Let's see if that actually works. Let's call it tune or something. So you can hear that this quickly goes very, very high. An interesting thing we could try to do is we can make this remap bipolar, meaning that it starts at the negative range and then goes towards the middle and then goes up again. I think if we want to do that, we have to also make our tuning bipolar. Let's experiment with that a little bit. Now I do have to say, in this case, I think my math doesn't work out anymore, because now we're working with the double range. But we do get some very interesting tones here. Especially if you go very low with these resonators, you can see when you're bumping really there, and you use, for example, non-linear filter or non-linear distortion after that. Remember, they tend to behave quite differently when we are working with very loud volumes. Let's see, where's our, let's use this distortion maybe. So there you can get some really nice flavors. Right now we have only applied this tuning there, but we could from now on, just simply from here, give this a range of 50. Am I using the wrong one again? Again, I used the gain there. So now the gain has 2. This one I don't want. Let's do that again, offset. And offset. Now, I think in this case, what it will do is that it will set all of them equal. So if before you went, let's reset this knob. So to 0%. If before you set this up to be a chord, let's say we go back here to 0 semitones, here to 3, here to 7, and here to 10, then you would have like a minor 7 chord. Then if you start messing with this, it will set them equal again. So you have to come up with some clever tricks for this. But I'm already a little bit over what I wanted to show you. Just quickly, just for fun, gonna add some other stuff in here, like an ensemble, perhaps a frequency shifter, or let's do a pitch shifter, so that we are keep working with semitones. The mix down, let's set this 12 up. And then after this, so if you keep these buses in parallel, then after this you have you can process the whole thing again here, because it all goes through these last lanes then. So you can then take a filter here. And of course you could use any of your modulation sources. You can, if you want to be fancy, take an LFO table, start modulating this for more color. Or you could add that only on one of the channels. And specifically, of course, if you do this after a reverb, you will get a bit of more of a sustained effect, such as this channel. So just to go back to the older rack I was using, I think it was this one. I have here some other examples where you have basically chord sounds. And you can name them, you can name the preset, of course, so you can easily load them. Maybe this one I think I was using. So yeah, just to give you some ideas there. I believe this preset is also part of my Faceplant course, which you'll find a link to in the bottom, if I can indulge in some self-promotion. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.